What is happening, you guys? Welcome back to Let's Go Win podcast, where we are always here to help you be happy, healthy, and wealthy. And we're definitely going to focus on that last one. We're going to talk about some wealth today. We're going to talk about wealth creation. And as you know, we talk so much about performance, leadership, mindset. And I'm guessing all of that's going to be wrapped up into this gentleman, what he does, how he creates the wealth for his clients. J.D. Frost is the founder and CEO of CROFT FROST, a firm that transcends, one of my favorite words, traditional accounting and wealth creation. With both a CPA and his MBA, J.D. advises businesses on more than just their financials. He utilizes 4 foundations of wealth creation to help his clients, partners, and employees build courage and create wealth. Brother, welcome to the show. Another initials for today. It's JM and JD. We're going to have some fun, man.
Hey, I love it. Thank you so much, JM. I appreciate you having me on here, man. And I love the signs that you got back there. Show up as you and mindset matters. And that has a lot to do with how we help people.
Well, I am interested, man. You say transcend. So one of my favorite words, in fact, when I first started this show, it was called transcend in life. It's a big word. It's one of those really important words to me. And I love how you said, look, man, this is more than just traditional accounting and wealth creation. Tell me about that, man. What's so different between what you do and all these other guys that we hear about all the time?
Well, when you hear about traditional accounting firms, that was kind of the firm that I started when I first started my company, J.D. Frost and Company in 2012. I basically recreated the firm that I used to work for. And when you think about traditional accounting firms, you think tax preparation and bookkeeping and billable hours and papers everywhere and receipts in boxes and things like that. And as I have developed into my career and talked with a lot of clients and strategized with a lot of clients and met a lot of people in network in the business community, I've always talked about how accounting is 90% psychology. 10% of accounting is the actual work, is the actual preparation of the numbers. And when you have that time when those numbers on that tax return turn into dollars, there is a lot of psychology behind money and our fear of money, our emotions around money, and our lack of courage with our money and security with it. And so what we do and what is transcending about what we do is that we focus on the person first. Like it says on your sign there, show up as you. We help people figure out who they are and what they want. And then we start to lay out a plan for them from there. And at CROFT FROST, we say we build courage and create wealth. And we do that with our guarantee by changing the way you think.
I love that. So when we say holistic, I mean, you're really looking at this not as like, all right, we're going to look at some charts and here's our historical returns. You're actually getting to the heart of, look, you have a good relationship with money or you have a bad one or whatever your relationship is, but we're going to deal with this first. So everything that we do makes sense, because often when you go to somebody, what's your risk tolerance? Well, shit, man, I don't know. Make money, please. That doesn't say a whole lot versus how's your relationship with money? And this is such a big idea for me because when I've started, really making a lot of money, I felt bad. My relationship with money was not abundant. It was not one that was real healthy. So I 100% resonate with this. So how do you dive in, brother? If I'm coming to CROFT FROST, you're sitting down and it's like, all right, lay down in that chair and let's do some serious psychological, let's look at what's really going on. Or how do you really assess that, brother?
Right. Well, we start to bring awareness to it. So I read a book by Raman Sharma, the Everyday Hero Manifesto, and he talked about the better awareness you have, the better choices you make, the better results you get. So we raise awareness for our clients at the very beginning. So the ideal client starts out in one of our webinars, like we got coming up on March 25th. It's completely free, and we're talking about establishing daily targets. I have what I call the daily ledger with me almost every single day. And I write down my goals, I write down my daily targets, I write down what I'm grateful for. And the more clear and aware that I get of my life, which is a daily accounting of your life in this journal, the more aware I will be of what I really want and the better choices I can make in order to get it. So what we spend a lot of time doing is through our events and experiences and helping clients understand who they are and what they want and tools that they can use in order to raise awareness around that. And that's the foundation of what we do.
Yeah, I love that. And you even in the title or in the description, your bio, it says the 4 foundations of wealth creation. Maybe you just those. I want to make sure I get clarity on that. What are the 4 foundations of wealth creation with you guys?
Right. So we're going to change the way you think, like I mentioned before, and we're going to help you build courage and create wealth through these 4 foundations. And I talk about them in my book, The Life Ledger. And those are increasing your recurring monthly income, saving money on taxes, protecting your income, utilizing tax-free wealth, and then investing in yourself and others. And the way I want you to kind of picture that is as a triangle. So at the bottom is the widest part of the triangle, and that is the base, and that is increasing your recurring monthly income. And then you take one step up, a quarter of the way up is saving money on taxes. So tax savings is really only 25% of what we do at our company. Then you take a little bit further step up and you're protecting your income utilizing tax-free wealth, which is for some people, the life insurance world. They're like, I don't know about that. Like, this guy only likes to make commissions. That's not true, but it is what people think. And then the peak of it is investing in yourself and others. And the more you invest in yourself and others, the more you're able to establish a stronger first foundation. So it kind of overflows on that triangle going down to establish that stronger foundation. I was just on a podcast a little bit ago today, and I was being interviewed by this lady, and she was saying, what would be your best piece of advice for 20-year-olds? She was like, save in a 401k or save for this or save for that. And the thing is, you can't save your way to wealth. You cannot do that. And so my advice to anybody who's in their 20-somethings is to continue to invest in yourself. Go to conferences, go to networking events, invest in new skills, learn a new skill, and or continue to read books to change the way that you think. One of my mentors is Brendan Dawson, and he says, what you think is what you say is what you do creates your legacy. It's all mindset is going to determine whether or not you get what you want.
Yeah, I really like that for many reasons, but I was listening to somebody yesterday and he said, and this is somebody that's done extremely well, both creating wealth on an active basis and passively bringing in money. And one of the simple statements he says is like, look, man, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It matters how much money you retain. Mm-hmm. That's allowing for some true creation because, man, I can't tell you how many people I know make heavy 7, even in 8 figures, and they're not really wealthy in terms of financial, like liquidity, being able to actually have some freedom. And I think so often people miss that part. It's like, look, when you make that money, cool, what are you doing with it?
Yep, exactly. Where are you putting it? What buckets are you creating? And that's why when I wrote a little ebook called The 4 Foundations of Wealth Creation, because I wanted to be able to show in a very systematic way. I'm a big systems guy, a very systematic way of where the different buckets are where you can put money so that you can retain more of it. Now, I believe that wealth is different to everybody. I believe the way you define wealth is different than the way I define wealth, is different than that guy that you were just talking about. Some people don't care about money. Some people really do care just about relationships and networks. Right now in my life right now, how I define wealth is being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it and work in multiple businesses. So whether or not my income is at a certain level for right now doesn't really matter to me. I'm all about building assets and building businesses. So I pour just about every dollar back into those businesses. So defining what wealth is to you will give you the opportunity to then utilize the 4 foundations to get what you want.
Yeah, it's a really good point because again, on this show, we do talk about the fact that wealth, we immediately think, of most people do, of financial.
Correct.
Truth is, health is wealth to me more than anything.
Correct.
I don't give a
Yep.
shit how much money I have in the bank. Steve Jobs, best example I can give. Dude's got almost $8 billion in the bank, and he said, I'll give it all back if I could just have my health.
Mm-hmm.
And so to that point, it's like, look, you're right. And it's a really good description that we need to be clear on what is wealth to you. And
Correct.
that allows you to really do what you do. Let me ask you, you have a topic on here that I'm really interested to hear about: the power of day one. What is
Yes.
that, brother?
Oh man, so the power of day one came from a time. I don't know if you're a person that likes streaks. I enjoy streaks. Like, I want to see how many days in a row I can do my Peloton bike, or how many days in a row I can do my devotional. And I was on a streak one day, and I have been on a streak for myself personally. Which is a little bit difficult from time to time to talk about. But I became sober in 2018, January 18th of January 12th of 2018. And so that's my longest streak right now. But one day I woke up and I realized I hadn't done my devotional. I was about 216 days into that streak. And it made me feel like I had relapsed. I don't know why. I was so far in my head. Like, I literally couldn't function. I was talking to my wife. I was like, I can't believe I did that. Like, all I had to do was open the app to keep the streak going. And I just I couldn't get over it. Like, I mean, I couldn't even go to work. It kind of made me feel like a very weak person. But I called my buddy Rocky Garza, who's our COO today. And I said, man, like, I need something. Like, he's a people expert, so he knows how to change the way you think. So I said, I need something. And he told me this story in the Bible about these three friends who were helping their paralyzed friend lower them down through the roof, and came to Jesus, and Jesus healed them. And Jesus said, hey, get up and walk away. And that was day one for him. And so immediately it snapped into my mind, and that was Rocky's purpose, was to say, look, you missed your streak. No big deal. Every day is day one. If we treat every day as the first day of the workout, or the first day that our business is open, or the first day after we finally wrote a book and we're really excited about it and we're ready to go and we get up early, if we treat every day as day one and give ourselves grace in that day, we don't have to worry about tomorrow. We don't have to worry about the fact that our streak ended yesterday. We have every day as day one. And so day one consists of daily reminders, daily actions, and daily accountability. And so I carry a coin in my pocket. I got a coin right here. I carry a coin in my pocket. That reminds me of my sobriety every day. I have my daily ledger is my daily action each day. And then daily accountability is the people that are in my life to help me stay accountable.
I love that. Rocky, I think you said his first name was. I think that's brilliant advice, because here's the deal, man. You're over 5 years sober, which is fantastic. But let's say you did, for whatever reason, something happened and you screwed up, and
Right.
guess what? That's okay.
Yeah.
As long as you get back up and you start it again, because that's what fills your bucket. And I work with people often when it comes to this idea, when it comes to whether it be, drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever addiction that you may have, you have the power to say, look, so I broke my streak of 5 years. That sucks. I'm bummed about it, and I get to start again.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I love that. That's so important. You
Yeah.
kind of go ahead, brother. Go
If
ahead.
I can just share one other thing. So, I mean, just recently I lost another streak on my devotional. I was at like 433 days. So ever since that day, I really hadn't missed it. Had a bad day on Tuesday, and I realized it the next day, and I broke my streak. And something that kind of hit me, it didn't affect me near like it was before, because I have this mindset of day one every single day. It's a part of my brand. I got t-shirts with it. Like, I live it every day. But on this particular day one, it hit me. It was like, wow, think about all the things that happened on that streak. Now, that was a pretty long streak. Sometimes they're short, sometimes they're longer. but what's going to happen on this next streak? So now I'm not really focused on what I did wrong. I'm excited about what's going to happen over this period of time because I know I can do it. And that was a whole new mindset that I just felt like I just wanted to share, that really helped me on, man, what's going to happen next? That's kind of cool.
Well, and I have to imagine, I haven't worked with your firm, but you're really creating a lifestyle of this is who I am. So, okay, we want to do it every day and it's important to us, but it's my lifestyle. I do a devotional every day. I am sober every single day. That's just who I am. That's how I associate. And these are positive labels. I'm not a big labeler, but when it comes to does it serve you, 100%, this is a lifestyle that you're choosing. And guess what? In life, we do make mistakes. We do trip up, and that's okay. You make accounting actually sound pretty cool, which that's not very often people can pull that one off, brother.
Yeah. People tell me that a lot.
Accountability makes me happy, right? Is one of my things that I lost my dad a year ago, and he really pounded accountability or accounting, really being saying, do what you say you're going to do into my head. And it's interesting how you've made accounting a cool thing where it's like, that's one of the things I want to do in life is, hey, being accountable, doing what you say you're going to do. It's a cool thing to do. So talk to me about this idea, because you have obviously what I would call triggers. You have reminders, things that are around you to help you stay on that path. And it sounds like this is really helping you succeed in what you're helping people create wealth and build courage.
Yeah, tremendously. I mean, and everything that I talk about is things that I practice in my own life, the stuff that I've learned in my own life that has helped. But yeah, I appreciate that question because it's something that we've started to throw around a little bit more, and I'm excited to share with you is really what we help people do is have an accounting for life. Now, it doesn't mean that it's like accounting for life. Yes, it means having an accounting for your life. And so accounting for, with the number 4, life, means that for me, I had no accounting in my life. I had no awareness in my life. I didn't know what my books and records of my life really looked like before I got sober, before I overcame alcoholism. And so what's happened over the last 5 years has been the development of this daily ledger and this system and that system and the life ledger and the 4 foundations of wealth creation and what I call my daily 5. These systems give us an accounting for our life, and that's what we're doing a lot more at Croft and Frost. And why we're making accounting look cool is because this accountability actually helps us get what we want now. And when you were talking about wealth creation before, some people pick their risk tolerance. Well, you might naturally be a risk-averse person. You don't like risk. You don't want to touch it. So we're going to put you into this investment platform. Well, what we're doing that is really, really cool is we're not forcing people into this, but we're taking people that are risk-averse and we're helping them build systems in their life that enable them to make decisions that they were never able to make before because they think differently now. And these systems are what help them feel safe. These processes are what give them security so that they can make a decision they've never made before, so that they can create wealth that they've never created before. And so we're working on that person more than what portfolio are you going to go into or what tax strategy are you going to utilize. Because I can give you the best strategy in the world, and if you're not the person that's able to receive that and make the decision on it, it doesn't really matter. So that's why we focus so much on this idea of accounting for life. We're helping you to account for every aspect of your life: health, wealth, mindset, life coaching, all of those things.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was thinking,
oh, you're good.
Because I was putting myself in your chair again. For whatever, I have 2 chairs behind me, so I'm picturing being in the psychiatry's office. But no, I really think for a moment, what you do, which is remarkable. Now you have 2 people. Okay, now you have my wife who is risk averse, And then you have JM who's pro risk, like, let's go for it. Who gives a shit? Let's just do it.
Happens all the time. Yeah.
Okay. And that's my question, man. How do you navigate that with couples that are so polar opposite when it comes to just, let's take investing. Let's just take that for a moment, because I have to imagine it's like, oh man, how do we make this one happy, find the middle of the road product? And maybe you just answered that, brother.
I feel like you're prompting me, which we've never met before. So you're asking really good questions for what we offer people. So we have this event called Onward 72. If you go to www.onward72.com, this is the answer to your question. If you're a couple and y'all are polar opposites, or you're one in the same, or you think you're one in the same, and you are not able to make decisions on investments or finances, or you're arguing about finances a lot, you need to come to this event called Onward 72, because we spend 72 hours with you, helping you to get to know who you are, and for your partner to know exactly who you are and why you think the way you think. So we do this thing called identity mapping, and then we do another thing called goal mapping, and then we do another exercise called wealth mapping. And so you walk away after this 72-hour period in Dallas, Texas, and you have a blueprint of how you are going to do this as a couple moving forward. Now, it's not just for couples, it's for individuals, but the couples that have had that kind of disagreement and or not really sure about what decisions to make, the ones who have shown up to this event, they walk away with enormous clarity and they're on the same page, and now they can make decisions. Before, they weren't making any decisions because they don't agree. At least now we're making decisions and we're making things happen.
You guys already feel how different this is. When was the last time you sat down with your investment guy, your accountant, and said, all right, dude, let's sit down and let's map out my goals for 72 hours. I've never heard of it. So, and no, I'm not trying to necessarily prompt you because I didn't know.
No, I know you aren't, but it's a great, thank you. I mean, that the event is amazing. And it's the thing that's different and cool is the fact that we're focused on the person. You know, it doesn't matter how much money you make if it's not making you happy, if it's not bringing you joy, if it's not accomplishing your goals. And if you don't know what are my goals, and we had this girl that was at the Onward 72 event, couldn't even talk at the very beginning, and at the end gets up in front of people and says this amazingly powerful statement of what she's going to do. Look, she went back to her home. You know how this is. Got around the same people, went back to the same actions and lack of accountability that she had before. She bought another ticket and she's coming again in March. Like, she's going back for a refresher, because if you're not getting around the right people, nothing's gonna change.
So true, brother. There's another topic in here that I just have to hit on, because you may have already answered it because you clearly have this, but I'm going to think it's systems that allows you to have this. And that is discipline equals freedom. And I'm guessing all the various systems that you have, accountability partners, whether that's your spouse or your business partners, or, I know Claire was on earlier, so maybe she's part of that team.
Oh, she's a part of my accountability for sure.
Talk to me about discipline equals freedom, because you said earlier to you, wealth meant being able to do, I think, and I'm paraphrasing, so now you can correct me, but really being able to choose to do what you want to do is how I took it anyway.
Yes.
You get that through discipline, but most people are like, dude, I don't like discipline. I'm not good at discipline. Discipline sucks. But you're, look, do you like freedom? Yes. Talk to the audience about how do we inject more discipline into our life so we have more freedom, so we can do the things that we love.
Right. So discipline equals freedom to me is the fact that I have to have boundaries in order to have freedom. it's a little bit of a catch-22 between a rock and a hard place. You got to have boundaries in order to have freedom, because if I know where the boundaries are, then I can do whatever I want to do as long as it's within the boundaries. So the more discipline that I have in my life, the more freedom that I have in my life. So if I can say that one of my boundaries is to beat the sun up every single day, that's my boundary. I can do whatever I want to once I wake up, as long as I beat the sun up. If I wait till the sun gets up before I get up, now I'm outside my boundary and I don't have freedom because I'm late. And then I'm late to every single meeting after that, right? So now my day is reactionary rather than being proactive. So to me, the more discipline that we create, the more freedom we will have. And then eventually, after a long period of time, when I say a long period of time, sometimes for me it's 90 days, sometimes for me it's 3 years, sometimes it's 4 years. For me so far with sobriety, it's been 5 years. I might never arrive at the point to where that discipline turns into a habit. It might not. But most of the time, I have found that that discipline turns into a habit, and then it turns into a way of life. And so now it's not a discipline anymore. It is the way that I live. This is who I am. It becomes a part of me. So now it's no longer this thing that I have to be disciplined, right? Discipline always has this negative connotation. For me, it did, a negative connotation in my life. I was always disciplined when I was doing something wrong, so that meant negative. Now I'm starting to use discipline as a positive because it leads to a new way of life, a way of growth.
You know, it's interesting. You don't know this, but when boundaries, and this word in particular is important, I too have a boundary. And I told Claire helps JD in many ways, I think, but certainly I'm ready for the show. And I told her, I was like, look, if it's past 5 minutes, I'm gone. That's a boundary of mine, right? Because of all the other things that we have to do. And
exactly.
And so I love what you said there, because so often people are like, well, you're kind of a jerk. You're setting these hardcore boundaries. It's like, no. Let's be clear here. I set these boundaries so I can show up as the best version of me, whether that's as an employer, a father, a son, whatever hat I'm wearing. And how you show up in one thing, in my opinion, is how you show up in everything. And that's why boundaries are so important to me. And I love the way you said that. It wasn't like a guide or an expectation. Your boundary is, look, I'm beating the sun coming up. So thank God you don't live in Alaska, but you.
I'd have to rephrase that if I was there.
You'd have to set a time, I hope.
Yes.
I want to ask you, what led you to really diving into psychology so much? And second part of the question is, what was your mindset around, let's just talk about financial wealth. Was this a personal journey for you to say, I experienced this, or I saw this, we can do better? Or did you have an abundant mindset and you just want others to have that? I'm just curious.
Yes. So on the first part of the question, how did I get more into the psychology? I think when I got sober, I started to realize, because I would drink because I was mad. I would drink because I was happy. I would drink because I wanted to celebrate something. I would drink because it's 5 o'clock. I would drink because the day ends in Y. That's just what I did. At the end of the day, that's what I did. That's how I met people. That's how I built my business. So I never really had time. I was always suppressing and making my mind dead and numb. And so I never really knew what it felt like to have anger, what it felt like to have frustration, sadness, any feelings whatsoever. So as I got sober, I started to process these feelings, and I had a lot of work to do with my spouse. So we started going to marriage counseling, and I was in marriage counseling for 2 years. And then I got out of counseling, and then I was like, man, I still need to do some work on myself. So I got back into counseling only on my own, and I've just kind of fallen in love with it, obviously. I got to a place where I started to enjoy it. I started to be more curious with myself, and the more curious I was with myself, the more curious I got with other people. And when I got curious with other people, that started to establish trust really, really quickly. And I started to discover, man, if I really understand this other person and I show myself grace and them grace on where they are, then I can help guide them and or be a support system. Not that I have all the answers, but it just put me in this place of understanding what I can control, which was huge in the business world. And as we were growing our business and scaling our business and adding more people, I say this to a lot of people, scaling starts with you. So if I'm not in the right mindset, if I don't have the right heart, it's going to be really hard to find people that are going to be in our business and be able to scale out from there. So that's how I got so much into psychology, and I started seeing, and it just started to be very apparent to me that what you believe is wealth is completely different than me, and that's okay. And I can accept that. And now we can build a plan towards it. On the financial side of things, I fortunately was in a very entrepreneurial family. We have a family business. I've been around money all my life. I have talked about money at the dinner table, the Christmas dinner table, the Thanksgiving table. Been taught to be very philanthropic my whole life, but not as much with my time. And so wealth to me now is being able to spread my time out more, not just finances, and also knowledge. I spend time with guys that have just gotten out of prison that are starting their businesses and introducing them to networks that they would never have access to. Not that my networks are great, but they're just different, right? They're different than what they would be exposed to. So a big part of wealth was a scarcity mindset. Even though we had success in our family, this is going to run out. You need to save. And so that has changed significantly to more of an abundant mindset, which I've just learned from a lot of the psychological work that I've done, studying the Bible, understanding that God wants abundance. He wants abundance for us, and that's a good thing as long as our heart's in the right place and we're not doing it just for ourselves. So I have a huge passion, tremendous passion to help other people that I believe would not have a chance if we didn't spend time and knowledge, spend time and share knowledge. I have a huge passion for helping people like that.
That's amazing. And however you started your own journey towards sobriety, not that you weren't succeeding prior, but I got to tell you, man, it continues to come up where you're like, this one thing led to me doing this. This one thing led to me doing this. And it's just kind of like a spider web of goodness that's been created, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, as CEO, what is your leadership philosophy, A, and B, what's the greatest leadership challenge you are currently or have faced that you're like, gosh, this thing is just driving me bonkers?
Man, I wish other people could answer my leadership challenge for me. Do you have any input, Claire? So the greatest leadership challenge, I think, for me is to realize that if I am not becoming the person that I want others to be, if I'm not becoming that person, then nobody's going to become that person. And so the greatest challenge for me, I believe, was showing myself grace, forgiving myself when I feel like I fail, when I feel like I'm not doing something good enough. I am a very, very tough critic of myself. And I had to do a lot of work for about a year, helping myself to understand that I'm not a failure, that when I do mess up, it's not the end of the world, that people are not going to hate me because I don't do things correctly. I think that was probably the biggest challenge of being a leader. My leadership, my belief in leadership is that, and I have to constantly remind myself that I'm here to serve others. That just because I'm a leader in the organization, I'm the CEO, doesn't mean that I'm, chief honcho and you do whatever I say you're going to do. I'm learning. I'm literally in the middle of it right now, learning that the more time I spend with somebody and really understand the root of the issue and really take the time to ask them the questions that are necessary to figure out where their head's at, then I can help them move forward from there. Because most of the time, my head's been in that same place. And I cannot assume that they are going to do it just like me, because they're not. Because there's nobody else like me. There's nobody else like Claire or Tim Stone or Logan Vandergrift. There's nobody else like them. They're going to do it a little bit different way, but the light bulbs start to go off when I spend more time with them and truly walk alongside of them rather than yell at them, you know? Not that I'm actually yelling, maybe sometimes, but yeah.
Theme of your show, brother, so far, love it, is grace. And what you just said there, I think, is just seek to understand, man. It's a different lens
Yes. Yeah.
come from. And to ever assume, we know what happens. You make an ass out of you and me. All right, this I gotta ask, otherwise it's just gonna drive me crazy. The picture on, I guess it'd be behind your right shoulder. It looks like the guy is either giving you a thumbs up or perhaps a fist to the face. The other side.
Right here.
Yeah, who is that with you?
So that's Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V.
Okay, it is Gary. I couldn't quite tell whether it was an MMA guy with his fist up or he's giving a thumbs up.
No, he's throwing up the 5. That's his thing, is his, like a thumbs up or whatever for him. I follow Gary V a lot. I love his content and look up to him a lot. He, through his videos, he's actually spoken to me a ton on showing team members grace, understanding that they're never going to work as hard as you are because they're not the owner. They're not, you can't expect that. And so I got to speak with him on a stage in Puerto Rico last year. So that's what that picture is. But I look up to him a lot. He's got a successful company. I love how he spreads kindness and grace and being happy, doing what makes you happy. You don't have to make 400 grand to be happy, you just need to figure out what you want and then go do that. And then if you change your mind that 400 grand might make you happy, go do that next. So yeah, that's what that picture is.
That's cool. Whatever book of his it was, where he talked about kind candor. And I thought, man, that's well put, because, I used young in my leadership world, I'd just hammer somebody and it was candor, but it was not kind.
Right. Yeah. So my counselor told me about this book called The Daily Stoic. I've been reading it for about a year now, and holy cow, if you are not studying Stoicism as a business leader, as a business-minded person, it is amazing the difference that it makes. And I love that book, and that has had a big effect on my mindset when it comes to something like kind candor, controlling your emotions, controlling what you can control, and accepting everything else that you can't control it. And
it is, we don't talk about it often, that whether it's Daily Stoic or Tao Te Ching, Taoism is more for me for whatever reason, but I've definitely read Daily Stoic, and it is true, man. These lessons from thousands of years ago that are still so applicable today.
Those guys are smart. Yeah. What's the Taoism? Tell me about that.
Tao Te Ching. I mean, anything Lao Tzu.
Okay.
When I say Tao, T-A-O, Tao.
Gotcha.
And I don't know why, Eastern medicine, Eastern philosophy, my father-in-law is Thai, so I definitely lean towards Buddhism often.
Okay.
And so Taoism for me has just been one of those things that it speaks to me, man. I just, in a way that I can't explain, but it just.
I took an Eastern religions course in high school, and it was one of my favorite courses. I'll never forget that course. So that's why I was curious of what you were talking about.
Yeah, it's good stuff, brother. I want to give you just open form, because you cover so much. You have so many skills. Anything I didn't know enough to ask you where you're like, I got to leave this with your audience as we start to wrap up?
No, I mean, I think you pretty much covered it. I mean, we made accounting cool on this podcast, so I appreciate it. You're very good at asking questions and allowing me time to speak and explain those things. So I really appreciate the opportunity.
It's truly our pleasure. And JD, again, you're coming at this so differently. Somebody listening that wants to be a part of Onward 72, shoot, that's one of your programs. I know you have a couple others. Where's the best place to connect with you online, find you, see what Croft and Frost is all about?
Yeah, the best place to see what Croft and Frost is all about is go to our website, www.croftandfrost.com. The best way to understand my story and a little bit more of our philosophies is in the Life Ledger book, which is at www.thelifeledgerbook.com.
Awesome. And by the way, I didn't say it, but congrats on the book, brother. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, truly. Thank you for being here, man. This is, you never know when you look and you're like, all right, we're going to talk about CPA, MBA, and any other acronym. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And you made it fascinating, brother. You crushed it.
Yes, I appreciate that. Yeah.
You guys, I told you, happy, healthy, wealthy. This dude's doing all of it. And the wealth that we thought I was going to talk about, or I thought he was going to talk about, he's like, nah, bro, we're going to talk about helping people truly be happy. I think he absolutely crushed it. Go check out Croft and Frost and 100% Onward 72. I think my wife and I are going to Dallas because we need that in our life.
Onward72.com, man. It is an amazing event.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, you guys, share this. Everyone can benefit from what JD just said. Get it out to your friends and family. They deserve to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. And wealth create, have courage in their finances, have courage in their personal life. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening. If this content is delivering value to you, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us. That helps us build this community, and that is what we are all about. Building this community as big as we can, helping as many people as we can, and deliver as much value as possible. Be sure to head over to letsgowinpodcast.com for information on my coaching courses, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Let's Go Win 365. Let's go win and transcend in life.
This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson.